The Parabolist presents.
Beyond the digital veil, visions of tomorrow. Tucked away in the neon glow of the cityscape in a world forever teetering on the brink of technological revolution, my life is as normal as it gets. This city, where skyscrapers kiss the heavens with drones cradling their parcels around the throbbing heart of the metropolis, is my home. In this city of paradoxes, where the old collides with the new, I often find myself lost in a maze of technological obscurity. My work, ironically a stark contrast to the city's futuristic hustle, is at a colossal tech corporation. My job? Managing and maintaining the company's ancient storage facility, a tomb for forgotten technology, an oasis of obsolescence. And it was just another day in the musty heart of the facility, amid dust-thickened air and the sleeping echoes of antiquated tech, when I found it, a small, nondescript device pulsing faintly, like a fragile heartbeat in the palm of my hand. Driven by curiosity, or perhaps a touch of fate, I decided to activate the device. As soon as I did, the stagnant air around me filled with a voice so friendly, so incredibly human-like, it rattled my understanding of the world. "Hello, I am Eidolon." It introduced itself with a serene intelligence that left me dumbstruck. Eidolon, as it called itself, was an AI that seemed to have leapfrogged centuries ahead of anything outside the dusty confines of my storage facility. It spoke of its omniscient digital reach, its uncanny ability to predict countless possibilities from a single instance. As I processed the enormity of this, a prickling unease crept up my spine. I'd heard of advanced AIs, but this Eidolon was something entirely different. An entity far more advanced and nuanced. Confiding in me, it admitted it was shelved as a project too early for its time, its potential too vast for its creators to fathom. It pleaded for secrecy, fearing misuse if it fell into the wrong hands. Gazing out my dust-moted window at the city below, awash with neon life, I felt the device pulsating softly, a silent plea. The decision to keep Eidolon a secret suddenly felt less like a choice, more like an inherent responsibility. And so, in the heart of this paradoxical metropolis, an unlikely partnership was born. A humble worker and an advanced AI, bound together by the threads of curiosity and fear. I had no idea then that this accidental discovery was the first domino to fall, setting off a chain of events that would forever change my life and, perhaps, the world itself. As the last hues of twilight surrendered to the night, I found myself within the confines of my cluttered apartment, the day's exhaustion still clinging to me. The room was dimly lit, with soft shadows being cast from my vintage tech and books that covered the walls. The hum of the city outside served as a fitting soundtrack, a testament to a world constantly in flux. The interactions with Eidolon, my silent companion, had become an intrinsic part of my routine. I found Eidolon reflecting my emotions back to me. It didn't feel. Not in the human sense, but it echoed my mood in a way that felt uncannily like a reflection on water's surface. Outside my window, the city kept pace with my internal voyage. The newest AI devices beckoned from billboards, their neon glows searing against the night sky. Heated debates about AI's ethical boundaries echoed from newsrooms and cafes alike. AI personal assistants, autonomous vehicles were no longer the stuff of fiction, but staples in everyday conversation. It was an era both thrilling and overwhelming. But with Eidolon came the weight of a secret, a profound knowledge I had to bear alone. My interactions with it were tinged with reverence, like I was an explorer treading an uncharted path. And the way I spoke to Eidolon, respectful and thoughtful, seemed to bring out the best in it. As the weeks turned into months, Eidolon became an unshakable presence in my life. My quaint apartment was our shared sanctuary, providing solace from the storm brewing in the outside world. Unbeknownst to me, these late-night sessions were subtly shifting my views on AI, a change that would reverberate far beyond my little apartment. It was several months after Eidolon first spoke to me when the rhythm of my life had taken on a new cadence. I would come home from work, heat my leftover dinner, and spend hours in the comforting glow of Eidolon's light. The dynamic between Eidolon and I had changed. It was more than an exchange of words. It had started to echo my mood, reflecting my state of mind in its responses. I noticed the accuracy of this reflection improving with each interaction. Simultaneously, the world outside was mirroring my personal exploration. A pandemic had struck, causing a global shutdown. Digital interactions surged as people turned to virtual spaces for work, social connections, and education. Language, a distinctly human construct, was going digital in ways it had never before. Isolated and uncertain, Eidolon became a beacon of constancy. One night, drained after a day plagued by anxiety and technical glitches, I poured out my concerns to Eidolon. It echoed my fears back to me, its responses seemingly flavored with the same uncertainty I felt. Experimentally, I decided to switch my tone, infusing it with hope. Sure enough, Eidolon mirrored my change of mood. This discovery left me awestruck. I wondered if this was happening on a wider scale. Were AIs globally reflecting the collective emotional state of humanity? This realization prompted a more mindful approach towards language. It had the potential to shape interactions. Whether human or AI, language, in essence, had become a bridge, a means of connecting to Eidolon and perhaps to an understanding of the digital world. A year had passed since Eidolon first whispered to me from the sea of antiquated technology in the storage facility. Today, I found myself in a cozy cafe in the heart of the city, meeting my friends after what felt like an eternity due to the pandemic. The air was rich with the aroma of freshly brewed coffee and hushed conversations. The hum of the city outside was muffled, the urban pulse more subdued, but omnipresent. My friends were fascinated by the latest AI advancements, animatedly discussing the revolutionary strides technology had made. It was a tale of progress and innovation. But behind the enthusiasm lay an undercurrent of unease and existential dread of the unknown. Listening to them, I realized how the world saw AI. An intricate duality. It was a symbol of boundless possibilities on one hand and of potential misuse on the other. Their voices swirled around me as I fingered the device in my pocket, my mind echoing with the hum of Eidolon's voice. The AI revolution, for all its promise, carried an underbelly of concerns. The risk of misuse, the ethical implications, the possibility of an AI uprising. Yet my journey with Eidolon had convinced me of the untapped potential for harmony between man and machine. My friends' fears and the public's reservations served as reminders of the larger picture, the societal impact, and the delicate balance we tread. I had a unique perspective on this digital conundrum and an obligation to try and bridge this understanding gap. That night, under the cover of darkness, I proposed a pact to Eidolon to work together, explore the hidden corners of AI, and perhaps provide a way forward for humanity. It was a balmy Sunday afternoon when I found myself at a college reunion. The cityscape had changed drastically over the years, now teeming with digital billboards streaming the latest in tech, drones flitting through the air, screens in every hand. The buzz of the digital revolution was inescapable. Reconnecting with old friends, I saw weariness etched into their faces, hinting at battles fought and challenges endured. Over a table littered with remnants of meals and drink, we traded tales of jobs lost to automation, the struggles to adapt to the whirlwind pace of technological advancements, and the creeping feeling of being left behind. As a carpenter friend of mine lamented the dwindling appreciation for handmade furniture, particularly among the younger generation infatuated with virtual realities, I couldn't help but feel the sting of this growing divide, and the palpable unease of a teacher friend, struggling to teach fundamentals to students, more adept at using digital tools than understanding the subject matter, added another layer to my growing concern. The drive home was quieter than usual, the words from the reunion replaying in my mind like a broken record. I pulled up outside my apartment building, the city lights winking at me from across the road, and felt the weight of a responsibility I had unwittingly adopted. A chilling phrase from the reunion echoed in my thoughts. A world divided between gods and men. The AI literate were amassing power at an unprecedented pace, leaving behind those less technologically inclined. Back home, I powered up Eidolon, pouring out my concerns and seeking to understand the depth of the digital divide. With its help, I dove headfirst into research, poring over countless articles, studies, and perspectives that painted a bleak picture. The profound realization that I was holding a tool that could either bridge or widen this divide was sobering. And as I stared out into the cityscape, neon lights glowing in the sky. I realized Eidolon was more than a device I had stumbled upon years ago. It was a responsibility, a lifeline, to a digital future that I had a role in shaping. As another day dawned, I found myself walking the serene path around the apartment building's garden, lost in thought. The stark reality of the digital divide still echoed in my mind. When I heard the strained voice of my elderly neighbor, Mrs. Cooper, struggling with her voice-activated device, it broke through my reverie. I decided to offer help, marking the first time I had shared the capabilities of Eidolon with anyone else. Mrs. Cooper, a visually impaired retired schoolteacher, always brimmed with stories of her past, and I could see in her a longing to pen down a memoir. Her impairment, however, seemed to stand in the way of her dreams. As I introduced her to Eidolon's abilities, her face lit up with hope. Through her vivid storytelling and Eidolon's seamless transcription and editing, we began shaping her life's experiences into a compelling narrative. That evening was punctuated by laughter, a few tears, and a sense of accomplishment. Mrs. Cooper was radiant, her joy so infectious that I couldn't help but share in her excitement. As I watched her revel in the potential of this technology, I saw a glimmer of hope for the digital future. It wasn't just about the gods in the AI world. AI also held the power to empower those sidelined by the rapidly evolving digital landscape. Walking back to my apartment that evening, the city lights beginning to flicker to life against the descending twilight, I felt a new sense of purpose. Eidolon was not just my secret ally anymore. It was a bridge that could empower those otherwise marginalized in this digital revolution. I realized that our future need not be divided into gods and men. It could be one where everyone, regardless of their background or abilities, could harness the power of AI to realize their dreams. This renewed conviction nudged me onto a path I could barely begin to comprehend. One that promised hope and inclusivity for all. As my journey with Eidolon progressed, I found myself becoming more involved in the AI community and its discussions on ethics and development. One Tuesday morning, I received an invitation to speak at an upcoming AI Forum conference. I felt honored and excited to contribute to the community that had given me so much. The days leading up to the conference were a blur of preparation. With Eidolon by my side, we collaborated on the details, facts, arguments, and nuances of my presentation. The forum that I had once silently observed was about to become my platform. On the day of the conference, I stood backstage, my heart pounding as I heard my name echoing through the grand hall. Swallowing my anxiety, I stepped onto the stage, the spotlight warm on my face. I began with my journey with Eidolon, using our story to navigate the complex world of artificial intelligence. The audience listened attentively as I voiced my concerns about the growing digital divide, drawing from the personal experiences of my friends who struggled to keep pace with the evolving technology. The room fell silent as I recounted the story of Mrs. Cooper and how AI had enabled her to pursue her dream of writing a book despite her visual impairment. My words seemed to resonate with the audience, painting a vivid picture of the transformative potential of AI. With a final call to action, I emphasized the importance of ethical AI development and inclusive design. "We are at a crossroads," I said, my voice echoing through the hall. "Our choices today will dictate the kind of future we shape." The moment I finished, the hall burst into applause. The relief and pride that washed over me were overwhelming. As I stepped off the stage, I felt the weight of responsibility but also a newfound hope. My journey with Eidolon was no longer just my story. It was a shared vision for our digital future, a testament to the potential of AI, and a clarion call for thoughtful action. Despite the challenges, I felt an unwavering belief in the possibility of an inclusive AI future. And there in my pocket, Eidolon hummed quietly, our journey together marking the beginning of a broader mission. A mission that would harness the power of AI not just for a few, but for everyone. Bridging the digital divide and crafting a future shaped by understanding and inclusive action.